When you eat Reese's for dessert, is it over?
Good
I
evening.
had
Hey.
I had the volume on. I can let you know when the ad's over, though. Okay, it's over.
What a good intro. Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, August the 15th, 2019, and this is your Mr. Video Game Live Super Show brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment. Hell yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Woo! We've got a great show lined up for you today, and as always, I'm Psycher Kite, the voice of the show, and our number one person who gives us all of the data. He's the secret writer of the number one Sonic Fox Twitter account. It is Brian, aka Wonderboy.
Yo, what up? I'm not gonna give out that Stan account. That's mine. It's private. It's for me only, and maybe someone else who wants to get in on it. Hit me up with a password. Any password you got. I'll let you know if it's the right one.
And she's demanding 30 grand out of G2A as well, but just for the mental damage of covering them, it's Lindsay, aka Lady Merowyn.
Hi. And yes, dear God, they do owe me money for the brain melts that we've gone through with coverage.
We're only coming back a few days after our last one. We ran a Sunday show last week instead of our normal time and date, etc. But yeah, we're coming back this week. I haven't done a whole lot new. I have hit up Hades and thrown my frickin' brain against the wall against the final boss. But Lindsay, I understand you've been playing a little bit of games over on the Lady Merowyn channel.
Yeah, I have been alternating between like a standard of three. So it's been Armajet, Stardew, and this lovely game, which is Moonlighter. Um, I know you dropped into the stream a little bit earlier, Travis, and you're
Mhm.
like, what the non Zelda is this? And like it has the same kind of art style feel as Wind Waker, just not it's like 16 or 32-bit. Like and it's super cute and it's really hard to get bored because all of your dungeons that you're delving through are procedurally generated. So much cursing trying to get through them.
So how does I understand it's part Zelda, part you're a sharp shopkeeper. How does the shopkeeper part stay up? Because I had to leave before you could do that.
Okay, so with the shopkeeping, basically what happens is when you go into the dungeons, you get loot. You come back to your shop and you have to try to figure out what to price the loot at to keep your customers happy. So there is a magic number for each item.
Mhm.
And that in turn gives you funding so you can upgrade your armor, upgrade your weaponry, upgrade your shop, buy potions, etc., etc., etc. It also allows you to invest into the town to bring people in. So you have to bring in your potion maker, you have to bring in your armorer. Um, and it's expensive. Like I think to bring in the Vulcan's Forge, so your blacksmith was something like 5K. Although by the end of the stream I was into the second dungeon because there's 5 of them.
Oop.
Have to unlock the first 4 to get the 5th unlocked. It's a very procedural game in that. But by the time I hit the second dungeon, I was pulling days where I was profiting something like between 30 and 42,000. So it's doable.
Okay, those sound like good numbers.
It's super fun. Like I grabbed it for while it was free on the Epic Store. Even so, I think it's like a $20 game. Totally
Okay.
worth picking up. I've put I don't know how many hours into it and I'm not bored yet. So like that's a big qualifier for me.
How about you, Wonderboy? Been up to anything lately?
Um, well, I've been playing some more Blackout Club, and that's been pretty fun. If those that tuned in Sunday know that game while I haven't gotten as far into it as I would like, just because of other things popping off this week. Um, I still think that game is very, very solid. I want to dive into the multiplayer a bit still, but that game is like oozing with like attitude, environment, like tone, just everything about it just has it nails it down super hard, in a way that really communicates the terror that you're supposed to feel in that game. Like it is very stressful, and as a person who already has chronic anxiety, Jesus fucking Christ. Um,
This
This
that
is
being
why I
said,
can watch it. I can't play it.
yeah, I'm just a glutton for that kind of punishment, honestly. Um, but no, like I really have been digging it. I just finally, for the first time since we moved into our apartment here, uh, I have finally got all of my systems set up. So I've been thinking about diving into some older stuff just to kind of appease my own like desires. Like, you know,
Mm.
the moment you get your N64 hooked up for the first time in like 6 months, you kind of want to go back into that library a little bit. So I don't know. I haven't figured out if I want to maybe start up a shitty RPG like Hybrid Heaven or something, or maybe dive back into some old wrestling games like I always do, because I'm the Dumbo that has every N64 wrestling game that you could possibly have. So like I don't know, I've just been like kind of looking at a bunch of different stuff right now, but nothing new, unfortunately, other than Blackout Club. Hopefully that will change. There's a game we're talking about here later on in the show that I am fairly excited to learn more about and maybe get my hands on. So we'll see.
All right. You all ready to just jump on into it?
It's what we do best.
You know, not to
Which
sound like some internet YouTube news guy or something.
jump without looking. That's you. That's YouTube News' motto. Jump without looking.
There you go. Rick Fox's League of Legends team is no more. They've dropped out. Thank you, Kotaku and Ethan Gotch, for the article we're going to start off with. Brian, you're more involved with it. While I can go into it, do you want to drop into the details on this bad boy?
It seems every time Echo Fox comes up on this podcast, I have to take the helm on the
I
to
could.
steer everything in the right way. No, I'm not complaining at
Mhm.
all. I'm not complaining. I completely understand. I'm the esports guy.
I've
So,
read
like,
the article, but at the same time, I don't really feel like I give it the plum that you do when it comes to the esports.
okay, so long-time listeners of the show will know that we've been chronicling this saga with Echo Fox, the LCS, and Riot for a few months now. Of course, this all stems from accusations by Rick Fox that one of the investors in Echo Fox, one Amit Raizada, threatened Rick Fox's family and also had some very racist things to say towards Rick Fox and some other people at the company. So all that came out. Riot, said that they wanted them to remove Raizada from the company, or else they would face dire consequences. They gave them a 60-day time period to get that worked out. That 60-day time period came and went with nothing changing. They gave them an extension. Nothing changed. Rick Fox went on a podcast, I believe it was the Richard Lewis show, and basically said that he accused Raizada of basically holding up the whole process so that he could basically commit a fire sale on their LCS spot just so he could recoup some money, because that's all he cared about was money. This is also around the same time that Rick Fox was threatening to sell his percentage in Echo Fox because he just wanted to be rid of the whole situation. Which he did back off of that, I think, in part to some of the stuff that his son put out there, trying to promote messages of positivity towards his father. But that all came to a head on the 13th of August, whenever Riot announced that Echo Fox will no longer be a part of the LCS. The statement from Riot themselves was the LCS and EchoFox entered into an agreement that will terminate EchoFox's participation in the LCS. As part of that agreement, the LCS will sell the now vacant 10th slot in the LCS and will provide the bulk of the proceeds from the sale to EchoFox. So around this whole saga, at least the most recent reports around it was that EchoFox was looking to sell the spot ahead of any discipline from Riot to Stan Kroenke and his company that operates a number of pro sports franchises, most notably the Los Angeles Rams and the Denver Nuggets. But that sale apparently fell through last week, I want to say. And so because of that, basically Riot is taking it upon themselves to find a buyer, and it is going to expedite the process. They're basically starting from tomorrow, the 16th. They are going to have a 30-day period where companies can apply to purchase that spot, and then, like I said, a bulk of the proceeds will go to EchoFox. So basically, Riot is becoming a middleman in this situation because EchoFox either couldn't or is like too preoccupied with other stuff to get the deal done themselves. Or honestly, in all honesty, it's probably just because Riot wants this shit done as quickly as possible, because this has been almost like 3 or 4 months of strife, all with League of Legends at the core of it, So it's terrible. Like EchoFox is a organization that was like one of the founding members whenever the LCS started years ago, and they haven't really been that successful in the LCS as of late, but they still had a legacy there. And so seeing that team go by the wayside, one is in terms of like the story of League of Legends esports is sad, but beyond sentiments, at the bottom line level, like EchoFox is going to be losing probably their most lucrative esports property, I would say. In terms of this, they still have their fighting game competitors that they field, most notably Sonic Fox, Stan number 1. But you also have, they have multiple teams in battle royale games, most notably PUBG, I want to say. So like they're still gonna operate, and they said as much in their statement after the announcement came down. This was a statement released to Kotaku. The EchoFox organization is proud to have worked so closely with Riot Games and the LCS these past few years. We made the decision to consent to the Riot process as it would allow a fair outcome for all parties involved. However, in addition to our support for our LCS team, we have long shown our commitment to growing and nurturing our teams in fighting games and battle royale games, and will continue to seek out and participate in the ever-expanding universe of esports competitions, both domestic and international. So EchoFox is clearly still trying to position themselves as a competitive esports organization going forward. Obviously, there are new leagues and new games that are being implemented in esports on a regular basis, so maybe they'll find something else that they can latch onto. You never know; they might be in play for a Call of Duty franchise. I don't know if they really have the financials to do that, considering the asking price that Activision Blizzard might be looking at. But that seems like the next logical entry point for something like that, to kind of replace the revenue that is going to be lost from an LCS spot. So basically, the saga is somewhat over for right now, at least between Riot and EchoFox, who there's still no resolution that to be seen with the internals of EchoFox right now, especially between Rysada and Rick Fox himself.
What about the players on the team? Are they likely to become, free candidates, or are they probably going to stick with the team new owners that purchased the team?
More than likely, actually, not more than likely, they are going to become free agents. More like the standard process when this happens is players that are under contract to a certain organization will like if that team goes away, they're usually releasing their contracts. So yeah, a lot of basically their League of Legends team will become free agents going forward. They might sign with the new team that comes in. I mean, the organization that signs up for this, they could already have a team fielding in other places, or they could already have people in mind that they want to bring in. So yeah, there's a chance that some of the people that are on Echo Fox's LCS team will not be on squads in the short term going forward, but you never know. But no, there are no contracts that are going to transfer in this.
Okay. Do you expect
Yeah.
like any issues for Echo Fox, as a company itself, with this major loss of revenue that'll come from this?
That's the one key problem that could be going forward. They'll get a good boost of capital from the sale, more than likely. I don't know if it's going to be 30 million like they were looking at with the deal with Cronky, but they'll get a good chunk of change for the spot. The only problem is, where will they invest that to expand themselves again? And even beyond that, the real question really lies with what happens with Rick Fox and Rizada. Because if they were not able to find a way to get Rizada out of that company in the time period that we've been covering this,
Yeah, he's gonna
then
be hard to get out unless they buy him out with that 30 million.
exactly, and he is not wanting to budge on that right now. He is not wanting to get out of this company. So, I don't know. Like, really, the future of Echo Fox boils down to who stays and who goes. If Rick Fox goes, that is a huge loss. I think, both in terms of like cult of personality, and also mainstream appeal when it comes to esports. Um, Not just Echo Fox, but esports in general. Even though you're seeing the mainstream focus grow and grow, especially as more TV contracts are coming out for certain organizations. Um, I mean, really, the next 6 months are going to say a lot, and we probably might know sooner than later. Both Rick and Rosada have been vocal about this sort of stuff. And if Rick Fox leaves Echo Fox, though, like that might be the worst possible outcome for this whole situation,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
because that he bears the name of that company. That company he feels synonymous with that company, and he's not out to just make a buck like Rizada is. Like, he's out to grow he's out to grow the industry. He wants more like of the contracts that you're seeing with Apex Legends, with Overwatch League, with League of Legends, like these television contracts that are able to make esports more profitable, more sustainable going forward. Like, he's been a key player in terms of heightening that profile over the past 5 to 6 years, I want to say. So yeah, like, if he's gone, then Echo Fox loses a lot of the heart that it has, and it will be interesting to see what some of the other athletes that they have contracted to them do going forward if Rick Fox leaves that company. You could potentially see an exodus of people. Who knows?
Now, my last question is, how many tumblers worth of money do you think they'll be getting out of this sale?
That's a hard number to guess. I don't think it's going to be 30 million. Like I said, the Cronky deal was reportedly for $30.25 million. That number is not going to be the number that they get, especially now that Riot's at least taking some cut because of them taking over the process. I wouldn't be surprised if you see somewhere in the 20 to $25 million range that Echo Fox comes out on in the end of this with, but it could be less. I mean, it all depends on who wants to bid, because like now, like, people know that Riot is not necessarily desperate to get this 10th spot filled ahead of the next season, but there's a reason why they're expediting this. They want to make sure their league is as stable as possible going forward, and the fact that they are only leaving a window open for 30 days for people to apply, like, speaks to how quickly they want this process to get done. Compare that to other sports leagues where, like, the ownership process is much more drawn out, I would say. Yeah, like, Riot wants to get this done, and based off of that, some people, the offers
They
might be
lowball.
coming in a little bit lower. Yeah, because of that. But we'll see. I mean, people vastly underestimate the financial equitability of the esports right now.
Mm.
So you never know. Like some people might overbid, some people might underbid. We'll just have to wait and see. I think that people are becoming more savvy of it though. So more than likely you'll get some more like accurate offers. I think. So we'll just have to wait. It's just a waiting game right now. So we'll see what happens with it. But for the all we know right now is that Echo Fox is not in the LCS anymore, and Echo Fox might be in trouble.
Mm. I got them for 7 tumblers myself. Just putting that out there. 7 tumblers.
I got you. We'll
Anyway,
see. Maybe. Loud ass car. Go
Lindsay,
away.
you got anything for us before we move on?
Not really. Not on League, unfortunately. I only recently started playing, so I am sadly not as aware of the professional league as I should be.
See, I have to drop into this like, okay, so how would this go in football? Well, it'd go really fucking different, but
That is very true. It would.
I kind of see how this works. But let's move on to some more normal world of gaming news outside of ye esports into the Nintendo Switch, and rumors abound that there will be an SNES a la carte system just like they have been giving out for the NES coming soon. The biggest thing that has made this come up is an FCC filing for a SNES looking Nintendo Switch peripheral, similar to what they had for the NES. I mean, what else could this shape of thing really be but an SNES controller?
See, I'm super happy about this because, like, when you think about it, we grew up with the NES and the SNES. And this is again bringing those fantastically classic games back to an entirely new audience. Because how many little kids have never touched an SNES but have a Switch?
See, I have my bet on the board. My bet is either September or October. I want you to keep in mind, people are going to be re-upping their Nintendo Online in 1 month. It is September 19th when everything comes together. If they were going to put that out, September or October are your big times to go, hey guys, we want you to stick with us, and you know why? We've got the games you've been clamoring for the last frickin' year. Everyone, oh, you're only putting out Nintendo games. We got the SNES right here, palm of your hand. You're getting Secret of Mana right now. Play it up.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, this and that also puts them in prime like holiday purchasing zone too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do have that Secret of Mana, or one of the Mana games is having a remaster put out
Yeah,
or a
the
re-release.
it just happened. The full trilogy got re-released, and one of those games, I believe, Part 3, had never actually hit US shores
Yeah,
before, so it
that's what
was
it
a
was.
deal in the hardcore RPG community.
I would imagine so. I mean, this is interesting, and obviously it would be the right move. I feel for Nintendo to start adding SNES content onto their online service.
Mm.
We've also seen that patent stuff from Nintendo doesn't always work out to be what we think it's going to be. So who knows? Like all signs point to this being something related to the addition of Super Nintendo stuff, but they could just be making a controller to capitalize off of nostalgia. You know, they could just be making just a new version of a Pro controller. Like it's telling that it's only the back that we see. Like the front could have joysticks on it. Think about think about a Pro controller with the same button layout but shaped like a Super Nintendo controller.
Also true.
It's a long shot. Let me just put that out there. It's a long shot that happens, and that would be one of the most poorly ergonomically designed controllers ever made.
Hmm.
If they actually put joysticks on a Super Nintendo body, but you never know. Like it's hard to tell with Nintendo just because some of their patent stuff in the past has not panned out in the way that it was originally thought.
I want
But
you to think about how hard they would get booed if they are just, hey, this is just, a new form of controller we wanted to put out for the funsies.
That would be like Diablo Immortal level booed.
you're not wrong. But they've also shown that they don't necessarily have a propensity against releasing peripherals that aren't necessarily good. So,
Those bongo drums. Hmm.
Or like
so
the Nintendo Labo set.
the
I
Labo
like my Labo.
the Labo stuff is okay for what it's clearly niche. It's clearly directed at a certain part of the audience, but you know,
Labo just speaks to me of like the Google Cardboard VR system.
I mean, technically, it is a VR system made out of cardboard now.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Technically,
true. But the fact that like I actually grabbed one because they were on a wicked sale.
Mm.
And I'm like, fuck it, we'll see what this is. And when you first launch the Cardboard app, you have to pair the Google Cardboard with your phone. It's got a QR code on the bottom of this hunk of cardboard that does nothing.
I will tell you outright. I bought the 3D Labo because it's a fucking lark. Why not? I love bad technology, but putting it together was actually funner than playing the 3D games. I thought like it was actually kind of adorable and neat how everything built together. And it's like, oh, I get what they're going for. I'm not going to buy the rest of it myself, but it's neat for what it is. And if you're somebody who really likes building shit, it's definitely a fun pick up and fuck around with item.
Fair enough. But I will say that if they are going to be bringing SNES games to the Switch, they might need to do a major graphical overhaul because I have found some games of the era do not translate well to modern screens.
Oh no.
Back in the day when the Wii was the big thing, I got a copy of Super Mario Kart. You cannot play that on an HD TV without splitting migraines after 5 minutes.
Oh, that's why all of these retro consoles have filters built in for them so that you can put the little fuzzy grains up that they were expecting when you bought it. And people are like, why do you have this? And then you put it on, like, oh, this makes sense. But moving on to our next story. Good old Mahjong back in the news by not producing something, and it's kind of understandable why. At E3 2017, they announced the Super Duper graphics pack. It was to update Minecraft to be a little bit more pretty. But in a blog post today, or blog post a few days ago, they said that Super Duper was an ambitious initiative that brought a new look to Minecraft, but unfortunately the pack proved to be too technically demanding to implement as planned. I can read words on a fifth grade level. Thank you.
oh come on.
So I understand that they wanted to do their own graphics pack, but they're saying here it's designed for Windows 10, Xbox One, but high end PCs.
Mm,
Well, there's a thing out there, and I'm not sure if it's still functioning. It should be. It's called the Feed the Beast launcher.
mm,
And it is pretty much your mod packed repository for Minecraft.
mm.
I remember back in the day, I was playing with super smooth textures with a Doctor Who mod pack where I could have my own TARDIS. that I got to design and fly around, which was a ludicrous amount of fun.
Mm.
So I think they kind of looked at what the community has done and went, we can't match this shit.
Meanwhile, like Minecraft, the joy of Minecraft is that you could play it on a tin box for all it fucking matters. It's not the prettiest looking game ever. That's not why you're playing it. You're playing it because it's fucking building blocks that you can build out for however you want to, however far.
No, I mean that's definitely not the reason why they were working on this. And this like I always viewed this thing as just like one big dumb fun thing that they were just going to roll out for people that wanted to try it because like it answers that age old question like what if someone upresed Minecraft?
Mm.
Like what if someone put I just remember like seeing someone it might have been in the last year or so where someone applied like ray tracing to Minecraft and just like
Uh-huh.
how distinctly like just crisp and like modernized that game looked in that instance. Like basically, like it was just a dumb thing for people to look through and to explore and to say like, oh, this is what it would look like if it was updated to nowadays. Oh well, we're gonna go back to whatever it was. Like that's all I ever saw this as, and it was a fun like interesting thing. It doesn't surprise me that it probably took way more um, manpower than they
Mm.
might have thought to get this thing going, and they definitely ran into some development issues with it just based off of the time frame of everything. So like it makes sense that they would just let this go by the wayside. They have other things to do, like new other regular Minecraft stuff. Like that game is still going so strong. It is so profitable still. Like there's no reason to muck with it that much, I think.
I will fully admit I actually re-downloaded it um, a while back and chilled around because I wanted a no stress, no objective, build the things kind of game.
I can understand why people play it, and that's the exact reason I don't play it because, it's a nice time suck to, waste your brain on, but also it's a nice time suck to waste your brain on. So, I avoid it like the damn plague. But y'all go out and build your nice lush castles. Why the hell not? Who am I to say this is dumb? It's Lego. I love Lego. What the hell? In less friendly news floating around, this coming out of Capcom Fighters, and the I'm just going to read the tweet from Capcom Fighters to give us a little bit of a lead in on this. Over the past several days, Capcom has received a number of troubling complaints about Leah Guilty Hayes from community managers. Following a review of these allegations and other information available to us, it is clear that there has been multiple violations of our player code of conduct over an extended period. We therefore have concluded that we have no choice but to ban Guilty from all Capcom owned and or operated events including Capcom Pro Tour and Street Fighter League until further notice. This is a global prohibition, meaning it applies to tournaments and events in any location throughout the world. While this is not the only player to have been banned, several other players have been banned as well. There have been a lot of talk in the league in regards to sexual abuse allegations. He is just the most visible amongst the players.
Okay, so um, first off, Leah is a woman.
Oh,
Guilty's a woman. And most of the accusations against her that have come out um, in the last week or so have been from other women. So yeah, that's the thing. And this supposedly these occurrences date back to as far as 2015 in some instances. So yeah, there's a history there. Guilty did come out in front of the Capcom's announcement to offer a public apology and admit to her transgressions. But you know, like it's a weighty thing to kind of
Yeah.
sift through. Like there's been time since her apology, some people that claimed that that she harassed them have come out to basically say like, yeah, no, this happened. I don't care if she's trying to get out in front of this and apologize for it and save face, whatever. This happened, and that there's no getting around that sort of thing. And to Guilty's credit, people have been trying to defend her in the way since her apology, and she has come out and said like, I don't know why anyone is trying to defend me. Like, don't, basically she's saying don't defend me. So like, good on her for saying that. I don't necessarily know the motivations behind it, but even with no matter the motivations, at least she's like telling people like, look, do not try and defend what I did. Like what I did was wrong and it should not have been done. And the real problem here is that this has been a terrible week for that, like you said. This all goes back to Evo, like at the Evo after party, sponsored by Red Bull. That's where a lot of these accusations started to come out. Not necessarily just at Guilty, but at other people. There were some people that were still remain unnamed, were accused of. I know someone tried to inappropriately touch a very prominent content creator within esports at at this party. One of the organizers of CEO was accidentally roofied at that party or at an event.
Accidentally?
Yeah, basically what happened was he took a drink that was meant for one of the females one of the women that was with
Ugh.
him at the party, and he drank her drink, and he blacked out immediately. Like according to what he said, like the last thing he remembered was drinking that drink in
Holy
question.
shit.
So like, yeah, there have been accusations of people trying to roofie people at parties around Evo this year. And that also comes off of reports of a prominent esports photographer, one Chris Bond, being banned from Combo Breaker based off of his own sexual assault allegations that he confirmed through a message on his Twitter account from his wife. So like, yeah, there's just been a lot of stuff. Like, there's been a lot of upheaval in the fighting game community in the past week. Like outside of the sexual assault stuff, you also had like issues where there's some very odd framing around Infiltration's return to Evo after he was dropped from Panda Global as a Street Fighter competitor after evidence of his past domestic violence issues came out earlier this year. Also, there was the banning of 2 Smash players after they got into a physical fight at CEO 2 months ago.
Jesus Christ.
During the Smash tournament there. So like, there's a lot of different like just poor behavior, and poor behavior is an understatement with these situations, obviously. But like, there's just been a lot of instances of this coming out of the FGC in the past week, beyond the past week, and it really speaks to just the prevalence of these attitudes still within the fighting game community, and the fact that esports still has a ways to go when it comes to like looking at player conduct and addressing player conduct in a correct way. I think Capcom, good on Capcom for taking the measures that they did. They've been one of the better companies, especially within the fighting game community, to handle these sort of things. But even then, like, this stuff does not need to happen anymore at all. And like the culture around esports and around the FGC really needs to take a giant step forward when it comes to these sort of things. I'm very glad to see that some people within the community, most notably the number one stand, Sonic Fox, coming out and just basically being like, why can't we be better? So like, there are people within the community that recognize the problem and want to make the problem better. I would say a majority of the community want to make the problem better and have these things be a thing of the past. But it's just a matter of, you just got to keep a close eye on these things, and we cannot you cannot let your guard down. Like the culture needs to shift drastically.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, how many conversations do we have to have about predatory actions within this community at this point, especially amongst people who are in a place of, heightened responsibility, right? People who others look up to.
Yeah, I mean, you see it's unfortunately you see it a lot within the video game sphere in general. Like I know it's not on our lineup here, but another member of the Yogscast was ousted this week as well. So like, and we've looked at them in the past. Like this is the third person in the last month from that company to leave, surrounded by sexual assault allegations. So, and then we've seen this in other leagues too. You know, super like Smash. In Smash, last month we had an issue where a pro was basically banned from competition after it came out that he had been involved with an underage in a relationship with an underage person. We saw last year Dream Casper in Overwatch League was quickly booted out of there after it came to light that he was basically sexually grooming underage fans online. So like it's definitely a problem that continues to persist, and it's one that seriously needs to be addressed, especially as esports' profile raises in the mainstream. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking that it is just, all of this is new frontier as well. Nobody, there's no vetting for the people who have come in so far, and there's nobody for anybody yet to look up to, maybe other than Sonic Fox, to go, hey, this is, how you present and hold yourself. So there's all sorts of, hey, I'm suddenly famous, and then it goes through some of these people's heads. And while that's not an excuse, it's kind of a understandable how this sort of fosters that sort of mentality of, hey, I'm a big shot now, you do what I say. And uh, there are so many young, impressionable people, especially in this sphere, that unless especially can places like Evo and whatnot step up their game, and the people who hire these people as parts of their esports team, or set up for, hey, this is who we're going to sponsor. If we don't go out and pay more attention to these people, I I really don't want to see this being a continuing trend. As we've seen, it's kind of gone up over the last year.
Yeah.
I think what you were saying about how like it kind of goes to their heads, it that really hits it on the head is that it's like I am revered by millions of people. I make millions of dollars. I am untouchable. Well, sorry, you're not. You're a person. You're held to the same rules as the rest of us. Stop being a dick.
Well, on the same baseboard of people above everyone else, and completely not to conflate the two people, mind you, but still, let's talk about Ninja again for a little bit. Um, Recently, Ninja gave out a phone number, 312-584-4684, that you can call or text. And you may end up playing a game with Ninja, but of course, it's all a giant marketing stunt. Part of getting Ninja over on Mixer and giving people a nice little link for you to go and follow him on the Mixer community. It seemed a
Just
little
checking
fun thing
something.
to talk
Yeah.
about, to come off of talking about gross things.
So, and I know, yeah, last week or whenever we were talking about Ninja last, I had said that in his first week on Mixer, he was at 1.5 million subscribers.
Mhm.
Well, I may have found something that contributes to that. If you head over to Mixer,
Mhm.
you'll see a huge ass banner on their main page. It says, Watch Ninja on Mixer for a limited time. Subscribe to Ninja's channel for free.
Hmm.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it sure is right there, isn't it? Just right
Yeah.
there on the fucking front page.
I mean, is anyone honestly surprised?
Not
Nah,
particularly.
Yeah.
I'm not even annoyed by it. I'm just it's hilarious to me.
However, I did look at the partnership requirements for Mixer.
Mhm.
Oh yes, 'cause I know we had talked about that last week.
This made me cry because I actually did a deep dive into it to see what the partnership requirements are. If you have an existing community on Twitch, you need to be partnered on Twitch with a ludicrous following to begin with.
Hmm.
Let me see. Okay, so if I'm another learner, because I saw it. So if you're just starting out on Mixer, your account needs to be 2 months old. You need to have over 2,000 followers. You have to do 12 or more streams days per month,
Hmm.
and you need to do at least 25 hours a month. If you're an existing Twitch streamer and you're looking to bring your community over,
Mhm.
you need like 10,000 followers.
Okay. I mean, like, I
Oh
know
no,
most of the big
sorry.
boys got that.
Um, it's 1 million plus YouTube subscribers or 5 million plus views in the last 30 days on YouTube. 100,000 followers on Twitter or 100,000 plus views in the last 30 days on Twitch.
So we're not going to Mixer anytime soon.
No.
Not at
And
that level,
there's
at least.
no monetization until you are a partner on Mixer. There is no affiliate step up like there is on Twitch.
Cool. Okay. Wave of the future. Mixer.com. Go make that money, guys. Woo. But yeah, I can't really hate on this so much. And we got Ninja talking to everyone here.
What's up, everyone? The amount of that I've
The
been getting
only thing that
is
really
honestly out of this
rubs me the
world.
wrong way with this is its proximity to the whole ESA leak, and like how all these other people had their personal information released against their will,
Mhm.
and the fact that a company is using someone putting their personal information out there, even if it isn't technically their personal information, because I doubt this is his real phone number.
Oh yeah,
Um, but
It isn't. It
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
is not.
exactly. So the fact that they're kind of using that sort of tactic so close to the ESA leak just leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to this. Like the data mining stuff aside, or the data collection stuff aside, like I'm just it just I don't know.
I was thinking
It's but
about
not
that myself, right? Because think about all
yeah,
of the other people who have been doxxed in other ways. I wasn't thinking about the ESA thing, but the number
yeah.
of times somebody accidentally puts their phone number up and suddenly is just flooded and they can't get rid of all these people calling them.
Hmm.
Well, and I mean, the main thing that worries me about this is the paragraph directly below that video, like the two paragraphs. So you understand that a message sent by a client may appear to come from a celebrity or other famous individual or influencer, but may be actually sent to on his or her behalf by the public relations or other social media representatives. You understand and acknowledge that conversations using the service are not private conversations with clients, but are intended as messages sent and interactions solely for the purpose of promoting and or advertising the client and the client's products and services. Community also retains the right to monitor and save messages and data collected with the service, along with whatever information you voluntarily submit, and can pool your data, analyze it, compile it, index, republish, and generally use your data for machine learning to improve the service, promote the data, and for all other legal purposes. It also retains the right to share your data with other clients at its discretion. You want to get doxxed?
Hooray.
This is how you get doxxed. Like,
Mm.
no, bad.
Yeah, I want to keep in mind that basically every single. Hey, John, how's it going? Anyway, every single one of these sign up things always has this sort of thing to cover literally all of its potential legal bases. Most of the times, they're not going to do any of this crap, but you're going to see this more times again, that this sort of language is going to be dropped out here about, hey, we may use your phone number for anything.
Well, and I mean, like, phone number, email address, it could ask for your demographic information. I mean, there is so much information that they can ask for, and the majority, like a huge chunk of his fan base, are kids.
Hmm.
So now you got this child for life.
They already did. Let's be real here.
Fair.
Epic is getting their hooks in these little 14-year-olds right now. Get all that money out of them later on with their free games and whatnot. But speaking about cash being king, let's jump into our next major story of the day. The Subnautica developers have demanded that GTA pay $300,000. So there's two sides to the story, and we'll start with as it went chronologically. Um, the one of the lead developers, Charlie Cleveland, founder and game director at Subnautica, developer Unknown Worlds, um, basically stated that $30,000 worth of credit card chargebacks came because of one of their previous games. Let's see, I believe it was Unknown. Oh no, Natural Selection 2. From stolen credit cards, buying 1,341 Steam keys, and then they were attempted to be resold back on the Steam market. The developer at the time even had to close their own online store in order to keep up with everything that was going on at the time. So who knows how much business they lost from that. This comes after several developers having talked at length about the number of fake or bad keys that have been sold in various ways, not just through fraudulent credit card purchases, but other means. Lady Goggles, hey, what's going on? No, it isn't Hades. I may play Hades on Sundays on the stream. Actually, we'll see.
The queen has returned.
Welcome back to the show. But let's talk about the other end of this, because G2A came back, and the big problem with this claim for Natural Selection 2 is Natural Selection 2, the key situation happened in 2013, well before G2A actually existed. There was a different company, but they were not publicly selling Steam keys at that time. So Cleveland had to admit that he was wrong on this one, but still defends that G2A has caused him a lot of monetary issue over their existence. So there's your story in a nutshell.
Well, I mean, you gotta say he's got balls.
You're not wrong. And I don't think that Cleveland is exactly wrong to say that G2A has caused more harm than good. But their statement, this is just slander, and we expect Cleveland to at least edit his post, if not straight up apologize. However, if Charlie Cleveland would like us to hire a professional auditing company to check if the keys from before 2014 appeared on a non existing marketplace, we encourage him to contact the G2A Direct team as per the initial offer. For those uninitiated, G2A is a place to go buy Steam keys at greatly discounted prices. Often, more often, these come from people looking to resell Steam keys that they got from various other places. But a good chunk of these probably come from stolen credit cards and other shady business practice and purchase metrics. So there you go. That's G2A in a nutshell. They hold themselves up as a retailer helping you redistribute your Steam keys that you bought that you have no use for. I have a lot of them from Humble Bundles. But, yeah, they're kind of known for being shady and kind of suck.
Yeah. Honestly, like I get that Cleveland's claim unfortunately does fall within an area where G2A has some standing to say that, yo, that wasn't us, that wasn't our thing. We couldn't have been part of that whole situation. But it doesn't negate the fact that G2A has some very discretionary business practices, and that the site itself, it's meritable to criticize them and to call for more transparency from their business model. It should be noted that while Cleveland and Unknown Worlds claim against G2A couldn't really become actionable based off of timetables and whatnot, the claim by Woob or Wooby, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the company's name correctly, the people behind Factorio actually do have a viable claim to make against them, and they have done so. They were the first company to do it, and they are currently going through G2A, the independent audit that G2A is requiring for people to make these claims. And if their audit comes out to show that G2A had some culpability in this, then they are due a good chunk of money, around $66,000.
Yeah, I believe at
So
least 10 times what they had to pay for the keys themselves.
exactly. So it would be $66,000 if the independent audit comes back to show that G2A has some culpability in it. Granted, G2A has been very vague about how this process will work necessarily, but apparently, the people at Woob have been basically working through all of this for the past month or so, and they should know more in the next few weeks. Hopefully, they'll get a result back that might actually take a hit on G2A here and kind of play out a lot of the misinformation that they've been giving out about their marketplace. I get that they might have founded themselves as a company that just offers this marketplace for people to resell stuff a la the used game market, but they've also kept it open enough so that people can routinely exploit it and sell gray market keys very, very easily. And also, even if their business practice, like take out the credit card stuff, you still have a marketplace that undercuts the developer at every turn. So It's like it's frustrating in a lot of different ways, especially considering that developers do not see any kind of return from G2A for their games being sold on that platform. So yeah, like I am very curious to see how Woob's claim works out. It's unfortunate that Unknown Worlds is couldn't, but I think that more and more developers are able to recognize this sort of thing, and they are not standing for it.
Yeah, and good for them, the ones that are standing up to G2A on this, and I think G2A, I think they mean well on a level. I think they really do. I think they don't want to accept the idea that they've been used in fraudulent manners. But you take a look, some of these people reselling are reselling tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Steam keys. Who the fuck has that just lying around? I don't know where they're getting this stuff from, other than, some credit card malfeasance.
Oh, no, no, no. They've made friends with all of the Nigerian princes.
Ah, those Nigerian princes. Such lovely people. Speaking of lovely, shall we get into our reviews are in segment today?
I like reviews.
First on the docket is Ion Fury has finally released. It is the first-person shooter from 3D Realms, and it is based on the same engine that Duke Nukem 3D was on back in ye golden days, the build engine. And it looks and plays exactly as you would expect. So far, the reviews have been fairly positive. A little bit of mixed reviews. It's not really going to, from all of the reviews and all of the footage that I have seen so far, it's not going to blow you away or anything. But they could have very easily just put out a very standard FPS on the build engine, and God knows there's a lot of them, but they put time to polish it and put it together. And anyone who remembers that Bombshell game that is the after game for Ion Fury, this is the prequel to Bombshell. That game was mediocre as fuck.
Isn't this also the game that Iron Maiden sued them to change the name?
Yep.
Yep.
I was going to say the exact same thing. That's totally that game.
Okay. I think, yeah, I've got this on my list now. I definitely need to check it out.
It is just released for PC, and later in the year it will be coming to your Switch and PlayStation 4, and I believe your Xbox. So, hey, it will come eventually to those who wait. I'll probably wait for it to come out on the Switch, because this sounds like a fun thing to travel around with, and it's not like I'm going to really need anything intense to play a build engine game. It's a blocky little pixely fun time full of key cards and puzzles.
So this could be our Doom, like Doom 2
Hmm.
update that we've been waiting for, essentially.
For some 20 years.
Stop making me feel old.
So if you're into that retro FPS style and have some real missing for the 90s, Iron Fury, you can do worse. Our other game,
I love how you instill confidence with that.
you could do worse. Our other game on the review Palooza here, Dicey Dungeon, from the creator of VVVVVVV, Terry Kavanagh, also Super Hexagon, and other games that people don't remember, has made a new game, and for the first time has actually worked with a full team to make a really pretty, really cute game that is also been fairly positively reviewed. It is a procedurally generated game where you play as one of several characters that you unlock as you go. It's a card builder, so think along the lines of Slay the Spire, but cute and adorable with dice rolls.
Yeah, this was the one that I was like very curious about that I spoke of earlier in the show. This one's been on my radar for a little bit, but even though it has been, like, I'm still not terribly familiar with the game itself, and I really but that doesn't necessarily negate my desire to get my hands on it though. I am a very I haven't dived into the video game world of deck builders that much, but tabletop deck builders are a mainstay for me. I love those style of games, um, and I there's just something about dice. Like I love just like the aesthetic of dice. The like sometimes the randomness of it, even as frustrating as it can be. It's one of those things that just gets me. Um, I always go back to a game called Tharsis that really got the stress of a dice-based mechanic in a game very very well. Better than pretty much anything else in that game. So like I am all in on this game. I want to give it a shot. I get it that it's much more about accessibility to the genre than it is to kind of like upping what it can do when compared to other games like Slay the Spire. But no, this one looks super interesting personally.
Yeah, I am definitely for it, because all the other, uh, especially roguelikes, are all gritty, when you look at most of them, and then you see this fucking cute little game, and it's Terry Kavanagh. When has he made anything bad?
Have you played Super Hexagon?
Yes,
I
I liked
lasted
it.
about 5 minutes in it before I felt like I was going to have a seizure.
I never said his games were easy,
Yeah.
which this has a fairly low, from everything I've read, you have a good chance of winning your first game. That doesn't mean you're going to win every game. It's going to continue to ramp itself up in difficulty as time goes. But for a Terry Kavanagh game, this is, probably your easiest in.
It honestly, like from the little trailer that you played, it looks like it's like combat Yahtzee.
I like that, but yeah, that's what I understand. And all of the people that I know who've played it said it fucking slaps. So, yeah, if you're into roguelikes with your random chances, hey, this is a good boy. It's Terry Kavanagh. Fucking love Terry Kavanagh. But those are This Week in Review. I'll come up with the real title for that set eventually.
It works.
All right, moving on back into the news. We know recently there was a Fortnite champion crowned. The man won millions and millions of dollars. Or the child, as it should be. Either way, I'm old. I'm sorry. I'm allowed to call him a child.
Well, he's 13. Still a child.
Yeah, I thought he was 16.
Oh no, he's 16. You're right. I forgot. 13 was the kid that lied about his age to
Yeah.
try and compete, and they got Never mind. Flop. Misspoke. Anywho,
Yeah, so of course he has continued to stream and be stream sniped as all of the people who are in the spotlight are done to. But now people are picking on him in a really
thanks,
weird
boys.
way.
Yo,
That's a new one?
Smonk, thank you for
Um,
the Twitch Prime.
That
Yo,
is-
Boogie.
Yeah, live, he is swatted in the middle of a fucking match. Um, I understand that becoming a star means some amount of eyes on you that were not there before. But to be in the middle of a match and have a SWAT team sent to your house is shameful, to say the least. Um, but they had guns drawn on this poor 16-year-old kid just playing video games on the internet. What is that?
Like, seriously, are you guys so butthurt that you got beat by a 16-year-old?
Oh, you're not wrong.
I mean, this is just. There's no words for this, honestly. This is just disgusting. And, we've seen in the past this has led to, the loss of life.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we saw this happen like a couple years ago with the dude getting swatted while playing Call of Duty. Like, this is just take out the fact that he's 16. Like, no one should be having this done to them. And I really hope that they are able to like find the person that did this, because this is one of the most disgusting things that can happen in our new streaming world. I don't know, like this is just what are we doing?
And
And, like, his dad answered the door. Like, I mean, at that age, you want to make your parents proud. And to have the armed police show up at your door demanding to see you with your father answering the door, like, that's kind of really, 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 and honestly, Goggles said it best. It's fucking gross.
yeah, and I've been over this before. People have been killed because of this. People have had things that, were otherwise innocuous but illegal. We'd in their house, and once the SWAT team's in there, they are pretty well aware of what you do. So,
Yeah.
hey, this shit's gross. So, ultimately, I think the moral of the story is cut it out! I think that's fair game. Speaking of cutting it out, our last story of the evening, holy shit. A Bandai Namco studio in Santa Clara, California, from what all we understand, had a bomb threat called in to their offices. Um, lately. All they can say at the time is that their employees are safe and that they will be doing everything in their power to safeguard the well being of their employees. We don't know where this came from. We don't even know exactly what happened. The company is keeping it fairly close. But after all of the issues that have come in from all of the gaming violence and all of the harassment and all of that other stuff and crunch time, I think the last thing developers need at this point is to have a fucking bomb threat called in on them in the middle of their workday.
Yeah, this just we've had a rash of these too since since the El Paso shooting. We've had a few of these. Like last week there was the thankfully erroneous report of of an active shooter at Twitch headquarters in San Francisco. But it's just I do not understand why this is happening, honestly. Um, I know that the article points out that this comes after a renewed focus on video game violence as the motivation behind the rash of mass shootings that have occurred in the past 14 days or so. Obviously, the facts of those the facts point to the fact that video games do not inspire those sort of things to happen. Um, they have no correlation to that. But that does not mean that some people, fringe elements, would not take it upon themselves to act against those sort of things. Um, I don't understand why Bandai Namco specifically would be the target of this, because I haven't heard any other company like having a bomb threat called in against them in the same time period. I think the last major one was at Infinity Ward last year. Which even then, we're 1 year removed from another one. Like that is far too short of a time span. Like it's just,
Hey,
I don't
I
know.
suppose if it's
Yeah.
good enough for our high schools, it's good enough for our businesses.
But that's the thing. Is like it's not even like the disparity in time is not even like that of the high school level. You know?
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean, I've grabbed another article about this because I was trying to see if there had been any updates. Unfortunately, there aren't. But the threat came just days after a man was arrested in Japan for threatening to commit, and I quote, a repeat of Kyoto Animation against fellow video game developer Square Enix.
Yes. Like I don't know where this is all coming from. I don't think it necessarily is spawning from the rhetoric around video games that the Trump administration has taken on in the days since El Paso, but it's not helping. And the same way that they have mobilized a base against other groups, specifically marginalized groups in this country, like what happened in El Paso. And I'm not trying to equate someone specifically targeting Mexicans and gunning them down in a Walmart to someone issuing a clearly erroneous, or not erroneous, but a false bomb threat to Bandai Namco. Because all the people at Bandai Namco are safe and sound. Like nothing happened out of this. But like there's a legitimate question about the power wielded by the people who spread misinformation. Like the same question that's been alive for years now. And it's starting to affect the real world more and more in terms of loss of life, in terms of threat of violence. And it's something that we as a populace just cannot stand for this anymore. Something has to change.
I don't know if there's anything else positive to really be said after all of this. Last week ended up being easily our most political show we've ever had here, and continuing on with the swatting and bomb threats, I'd like to go 1 week on doing the show where I don't have to report on something fucking gross, because I don't know about you, but I'm here to talk about video games. And then I have to come on here and, hey, people had their lives threatened, like, legitimately, over the course of last week. Hey, that's fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, for a lot of us, video games are our happy place. And to see this kind of bullshit darkening something that brings so many people joy. I don't want to live on this planet anymore, guys. Like, I'm sick and tired of this. I really am. And I feel so bloody powerless that I can't do anything to change it.
I mean, we just have to keep being the best example that we can be, just in our own lives. That's really the only thing we have control over. No, John, we're not swatting the government. Jesus Christ.
I
get,
don't condone swatting, but that would be freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, SWAT the FBI offices, SWAT the Pentagon. It'll be great.
Yeah. Well, the FBI is too busy cleaning up evidence or grabbing evidence off of Jeffrey Epstein's secret island. So they might not necessarily respond to a swatting call at the moment. Ugh.
Fair enough.
But no, like I mean, we just have to find the places where we can have impact, and just keep trying to move things in a positive direction as best we can. That's really the only thing we have power over.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
All right. I don't want to end on a downer note. That was our last story, but always, we end every episode of Mr. Video Games by labeling something the best, the worst, the most amazing thing in video games that week that made you stare at it and go, yeah, that's video games, alright. And the winner this week is the System Shock 2 developers. Why, you might ask? Recently, there was a live stream of some upcoming areas for the new game. And it was revealed that textures on the doors in System Shock 2 were taken from actual colonoscopy photos. So you get to see his real colonoscopy as you go through System Shock 2.
So all them doors are doo-doo tubes.
I can't.
Thank you, Night Dive Studios, for putting your own colonoscopy into your video game.
Jesus Christ, this is
John, yes,
this is great.
the
That-
best comment ever. That comment wins
Yep.
this stream. Thank you.
Historical realism.
Mhm.
Look at this butthole.
But the thing is, like, the beauty of System Shock 2, for
Mhm.
when it was released, is that it was low res enough that nobody knew.
Yep, and it worked. It worked so well. And who would have thought that the actual like grody feeling you got walking through them bio doors just was actually just like, yo, you're staring into the fucking eye of the brown god.
It was deserved grodiness feelings.
Yeah. Ugh.
But yeah,
And
God.
the update, like, that thumbnail, man, that was probably some of the creepiest shit I've ever seen.
A reminder that System Shock 2 was kickstarted a few years ago. They are planning to release the game next year. They are doing live streams of their game as they continue to develop it, so people can see what it looks like, what they're getting, because they want their backers to know they're getting good things out of it. I say this as someone who backed the game because I found the game kind of hard to get into 25 years later, so I'm glad to have an HD version of it that'll be a little simpler.
No, it looks great. It looks fantastic. You know, like I'm all for something that will allow more people to play this game and will make it easier for me to play this game now, because I, like you, have gone back to play System Shock 2 again, and like I'm sorry, it just doesn't. There's just something. There's like a barrier there. Like the tone and the atmosphere is still there, but the controlling the character just feels so clunky.
Especially the stim packs, kind of just I'm always a little confused as to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But this has go ahead.
This just looks rightly creepy. I'm in love. I needs it.
Look at that little Doctor Who shitbag.
Why are you beating Alpha 5 like that? I don't need that.
But as we watch this from Night Dive Studios, let's go ahead and end the stream tonight. Brian, do you have any final words for our audience this evening?
I think the best thing to say before I plug the shit out of all of my stuff, because I have to do that now, is
like Lynn said, be the change that you want to see in the world. You are the first doorway to that. That being said, you can follow me at WonderboyOTM on Twitter. Also, I was on the Smart to Death podcast on Monday talking about LGBTQ pro wrestling. And that was a very fun show. I was on there as part of a roundtable discussing that along with Kenny Omega and the Golden Lover storyline. So I don't know if that necessarily has a mutual audience with our normal audience here, but if it does, go check it out. It was a pretty rad experience for me, and I think it would be a pretty fun listen.
I
That's
tried
smart
listening to the
to death.
podcast, and you sounded like you were having fun, and if you like wrestling, you'll enjoy it. And I was very confused and stopped after a little bit, but you sounded like
Yeah.
you're having fun, so good
Oh, yeah.
times.
It was a blast. Yeah. And also, you can read my stuff at outsports.com, superherohype.com, all that other stuff. That's a scary butthole zombie. I'm going to turn over everything to the rest of y'all now.
All right, Lindsay, any final words this evening?
Just, guys, like, love each other. You know, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And I'm just full of bad, cheesy quotes today, but like, there's a lot of ugly in the world, but you don't have to contribute to it. Just be positive, be happy, bring some light into somebody else's life.
Well, as always, we have been Mr. Video Games. We are Slacker Kite, Lady Merowin, and Wonder Boy. And we do this every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. This Sunday, I'm probably going to play a little bit of Hades on stream, just to keep up our chance of becoming affiliate. The next rank of whatever the hell that you become. I always forget what it's called. Anyway,
You had it. It's affiliate.
it's
You're
affiliate.
good.
Okay. Because we need 50 viewers in so many days, and streaming one day every week for newsy type stuff does not get you enough watch time, sadly. So, Hades this weekend, 48 followers. When did we get another follower? I don't know, but 2 more and another day, and we're fucking in the bank. Get that money, son. Get that money.
Woo!
You can also find us on youtube.com/CBGP Games in case you want to watch our entire archive of show that we put out for free for you just because we love each and every one of you individually. And thank you all for coming. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Night.
Bye.